Good Sunday afternoon, YouTube modeling community. Pappy here at West Georgia Rides and Customs. Thought I'd give y'all a little update of what's been going on my bench. I kind of took a couple of week hiatus as far as just heavy, just heavy building, just doing things like that on the bench. So it's always good to take a little hiatus. That way you can kind of sit back and think about the build that you're doing. My old buddy Jerry over at Woody's Garage, Woody's Models, he right after I finished the Mustang Pro Street build, he was like, "Pappy, what are you gonna do next? And you got that old '70 Plymouth Cuda. You don't do Dodges or Plymouths much." True that, Jerry. I do not. Even though I do drive a Dodge every day, but I'm not one to build a lot of Plymouth. So you know what? In due respect, I think I will. So if you've been following this build, here's where I've got it to. What I did was I back half the everything in the first video. Everything from right back in here, the tubs and all that are all from the 67 Revell kit. And then everything from here forward comes from the 70 Plymouth Cuda kit as far as the frame. The reason the hood is brown, that's just a piece of, actually just a file folder that I cut out from the shape of the hood right there. I'm trying to plot the strategy of where I'm going to open the hood on that hood right there for this blown 426 Hemi. And as you can tell, there she sits. I've already got the already kind of got it where I want it as far as the opening and everything. So that's one of the things. If you don't want to ruin a hood, especially with 2 or 3 different cuts, or having to use 2 or 3 different hoods in order to get it correct, just take that hood and trace out the outline like that, and put it in the opening. And right there is how I kind of where I plot where that opening is going to go. So it's kind of big right there as far as the opening. It's a little bigger than what I really want to do. So I may just wind up thinning, narrowing that opening a little bit, but it's got to be open wide enough to where it'll fit the blower, a little bit of the blower and the belt and the carbs and everything that's going to come up through there. So I think that's pretty convincing right there. So as you can tell, I've already got the opening right there traced out where it's going to go on the hood. So I wanted to do a kind of a test fit before I actually commit to doing that. So, but right there is where we at. Had an old kit engine that when I bought a stash out from a friend of mine, David Duncan, and he had a bunch of Hemi engines in there. So I took one of the engines and just throwed it in the old purple pine and got it good and kind of loosened up and everything, as far as got the old paint off of it, and it kind of was ready to pop apart. So I was able to start salvaging, the block, the heads, the water pump and things like that. So I've got it sitting down in there. Already got the heads and the manifold as far as the mufflers and everything. Actually, I'm just going to use an exhaust manifold on that. So we'll get them. There's the big meats that's going to go up under this thing. I'm going to go with the drag 500s as far as for that. That was another thing that I did this weekend. I took the, I had to get the, let me get them turned around right here. These are some big tires. And of course you have to do the backing off of them. So I had to get some of these out of my old part stash, thin them down just a little bit of the sanding. Have to take a Dremel tool to get those to fit fit down in there. And I think that turned out pretty well. Had to lengthen a little bit the rear end as far as the outer tubes, get that lengthened out to where I can get those meats way up under the fender wells of this. And as far as the tires for the fronts right there, that going to go with the skinnies. Had to pull some old rims out and get a hold of that, just kind of hollow that out. That was a full wheel from a kit that I don't know what, just some of the parts I've had stashed around, but it's an outer backing from an old wheel. So I kind of sanded that down, got it to where it'll where it'll fit right. Let me see if I can get that in there. I'm doing this one-handed. So get that to fit right down in there. So turned out pretty good. Good evening of just a little bit of work that I've been going on with that. There's the rest of the pieces for this build. I'm just going to go with the stock interior, stock dash, console, whole 9 yards right there. Just what comes out of the Cuda Revell kit. Trying to see what else. I'll go ahead and use as far as the radiator, the shroud, however, will not be used. So that'll go into an old parts donor kit somewhere, or the parts box, because I'm gonna have that big blower belt assembly on the front of it. And then just all the other little pieces and doodads that goes along with the front end for that right there. So, and there's some of the tools of the trade that it's been. If any of you don't have a Dremel, that's the best money. You can take that right there, and you can get a lot. Just get you a little multi-assortment of different cutters. As far as the grinding wheels right here. These are just cutter wheels. These are grinding wheels as well as those. And this one right here, I use it quite a bit. As you can tell, it's kind of like a little mill bit. And then I got a half round bit as far as a mill bit on it, as well as just a smaller, just a different grinding wheel. And those help out. Those are just some of the tools of the trade that I like to use when building, especially when you have to build or when you're building a Pro Street kit like this, where you're grafting 2 or 3 different kits and just a lot of kit bashing, which is really I love doing these. But right now I've got everything fitting as far as on the inside. Got the interior. The interior door panels, all those are fitting very well. I did have to fabricate the piece where you see that yellow piece back there in the back. I had to fabricate that back. It's kind of like a panel that comes up to the back deck back here where it'll fit. That yellow piece right there is the speaker tray. That's what separates everything from the trunk. But everything's fitting very nicely in here as far as the door panels and as far as into the tubs themselves. So getting ready to possibly this week start getting some paint on this thing. A lot of folks go, Pappy, what color you gonna build? What color you gonna paint it? What color you gonna paint it? Well, as you can tell, I'm gonna do something I very rarely like to do. I'm gonna rattle can one. I hadn't rattle canned nothing in a while. But the paint, especially the Tamiya paint, I'm having a hard time trying to find not just the colors, but I'm having a hard time trying to find the TS13 clear. So I've got 1 can of TS13 clear waiting on this. It's out there in the garage. But these are the base colors that I'm going to be using on this. I'll be doing the entire car as far as the roof, everything, frame, whole 9 yards. It's going to be, this is a candy lime green. So, with that being said, once I get everything smoothed out, the first coat of primer goes down, I'll be using it's a bright aluminum. So, be using that for the first coat as far as the guide coat of base. And then as far as this candy lime green, it's almost a translucent. So be using that on that where it'll give it that extra amount of pop. And then the clear, saving that can of TS13 to clear it's all out. As far as the hood, I'm gonna more than likely do the hood in a NATO black, kind of a matte finish. And probably the tops of the fender well, so be looking for that as well. As far as the interior, hadn't decided on the interior color yet. Still tossing that around. Might be a tan and brown. Might even be a black and gray. Can't ever tell. This is going to be it's going to be a bright color on the outside, so I'll just have to kind of figure it out from here. But let me set these out of the way. Get that big old arm right across the front of it. But here's where we at right here. Getting ready to start maybe possibly this week. Get the color on it and see where we go from there. Anyhow, hope everybody is safe and sound throughout hurricane, where if you was affected by Hurricane Delta. We just had a lot of rain come through here last night. South of us, we had some tornadoes and stuff come through. But other than that, we came through unscathed. Anyhow, folks, remember, if you can dream it, build it. God bless y'all. Pappy out of here.